Breaking right now. King Charles and Prince William still believe Meghan Markle is a bigger threat to the royal family than Prince Andrew. A position backed up by a bombshell outspoken poll. I'll reveal the results in just one moment. But first, I think this post on X from Genevieve's sums up the situation facing the British royal family the best. 2 down, 2 to go. Because while there is quite naturally fury at the lack of action over that oaf Prince Andrew, and by the way, just look at this picture of him, one of his last pictures in the public eye, alongside Sophie. And there he is at a royal funeral, guffawing with Fergie doing the same. They never learned. They never learned, and they were given opportunity after opportunity to learn. So while I completely understand the fire and fury being aimed in the direction of the, do we say, former Duke and Duchess of York? I mean, at the end of the day, he's not using his title, but he still does own it. And there is, of course, growing pressure on the king to go to Parliament and demand this legislation in order to go the full hog. My sources say there is a growing feeling within Buckingham Palace that Prince William is winning the argument and that Charles may have to take a political stance on that matter. And of course, if it does get before the House of Commons when it comes to Andrew, it would be very, very easy to slip the Sussexes in there as well. So Angela Levin, a huge amount going on here, but I think the first thing to say is that there seems to be growing consensus that it's not enough for Andrew to simply say, well, I'm not going to use the title. There is growing pressure on King Charles, not just from politicians, but also from his own son, to actually go further, Angela, to have this act of parliament where his title is stripped, where he would not even be able to use the term prince anymore, which of course would overturn a rule that was introduced by King George V. And this would also be hugely worrying for Meghan, Harry, Archie, and Lilibet, who William intends to remove from all royal life as well. What do you make of it all?
Well, what I make is that the comment is extremely harsh, and so it makes everything sound much worse than actually it is. I think that Prince William is actually doing a terrific job. He doesn't want to be king at the moment. He doesn't want to be king until his children are much older. We should all know that. But he wants to help his father to get out of it. And he knows that fathers, grandfathers, actually find it very difficult to make rules against those children. But if you're a brother or you're an uncle, you can do it much more easily. So my view of that is not that he's trying to win things, it's that he's trying to help a lot. And I think that's what he's doing very well.
Because it's the right decision, isn't it, Angela? That is the reality. William knows that it is unpalatable for the British monarchy to keep this disastrous couple in the mix when it comes to Andrew and Fergie, but also to have Harry and Meghan constantly dragging down the brand. Both couples are an issue.
Yeah, I feel very strongly that Harry and Meghan should be cut out. It's very different from Andrew. I mean, I think Andrew, who is having sex with young girls, underage girls, is disgusting, and that's out for that reason. Harry, and especially Meghan, are actually so revolting, trying to find every difficult thing that they can say, arguing, shouting, screaming, and expecting to get lots of money and their children to be able to decide whether they'd like to float in for a few days to see what it's like to be a worker in a royal in Buckingham Palace or not. I mean, this is nonsense. They hate it. They didn't like the royal family. They left 5, 6 years ago now because they hated it all. Okay, go away. The Queen wished them well, but that's not good enough. What they want is to keep on nagging, to keep on making things difficult for anyone who's royal. And that's what they're after. Getting money. And actually, if anybody gets there, he could take over and Meghan can take over and all would be well. But that is absolutely disgusting. They don't deserve to have any attention from the royal family. And the more that they go on and on about it, the harder we must be. Absolutely. The children don't need anything. They're little kids. They don't even know who their grandfather is, or either grandfathers actually, and they don't need to learn how to be royal people. They're not. So let's leave it. Let them have their own lives. Why Meghan wants to do that is purely so that she can tick lines that she's incredibly important and even more wonderful than anybody realizes. But she's an incredibly unpleasant woman with horrible views and determinations that I've never heard of.
Yeah, and I mean, look at the poll. Let's just put those poll results up again once
Absolutely.
more because it's absolutely fascinating. Over 70,000 people. And sure, yes, Andrew is a threat to many, but Meghan Markle the biggest threat. Angela, can I just clarify, though, do you really think that Charles has been strong enough here? I totally understand you have sympathy for him given what he's going through, this cancer battle. But remember, people like you and me have been calling on him to deal with this issue of the titles for years because it was so obvious that it was going to get to this point, not just with Harry and Meghan, but with Andrew and Fergie as well. And the problem is, Angela, his sort of attempt to find some type of reconciliation or forgiveness, I think, is blowing up in the face of the British royal family. And now this is a genuine crisis, Angela, a genuine crisis at a time when he doesn't need that because he should be focusing on his health, the poor man.
What if the future king is preparing for the biggest royal shakeup in decades? For years, controversy has surrounded two of the most talked about figures connected to the royal family, Prince Andrew and Meghan Markle. Now, a growing number of royal commentators are asking a dramatic question. Could Prince William one day move to strip both of their royal titles? The possibility has ignited fierce debate. Supporters call it necessary. Critics call it unlikely. But one thing is certain, the conversation is growing louder. Prince Andrew's royal downfall is already well known. Once considered one of the most prominent working royals, Andrew's public role collapsed amid years of controversy and damaging headlines. Although he remains a member of the royal family, many of his royal duties and privileges have already been removed. For some commentators, that process should go even further. They argue that Andrew's association with the monarchy continues to create reputational challenges for the institution. Then there is Meghan Markle. Since stepping back from royal duties alongside Prince Harry in 2020, Meghan has remained one of the most polarizing figures in modern royal history. Supporters praise her willingness to challenge royal traditions. Critics argue that her public criticism of the monarchy has damaged the institution. The result has been years of controversy, headlines, and heated debate. Now some royal observers believe that a future King William may seek a leaner monarchy with stricter expectations for those connected to the crown. According to this theory, royal titles should reflect active service and loyalty to the institution. Those who no longer meet those standards, critics argue, should not retain certain privileges. This idea has fueled speculation about both Andrew and Meghan. But would such a move actually be possible? The answer is more complicated than many headlines suggest.
Yes, but I think if you go back, there was COVID and there was all sorts of other things that's made things very upside down. And I think he didn't want to be totally unkind. He wanted to keep giving him the chance, which was a mistake. But he wanted to because I'm sure he knew that his mother would have loved him to do that. I mean, he was very, very close to
Well, I
Queen
believe she
Elizabeth.
asked him to. And so I think that's such an important point, Angela, which a lot of people have forgotten in all of this. Charles has been trying to do right by his mother, who wanted her eldest son to look after her favourite son. But Angela, people just say, well, circumstances change.
Can I also say that I think he's actually, for the first time in his life, probably really listening to what the doctors are saying, that he should take lots of rest, that he should not actually overdo it. But that way can still do things. And he goes to Scotland because that's where he feels the most, it's very easy for him to relax. Otherwise, he couldn't come out at all. He's not that ill that he couldn't come out at all. And as I have mentioned before, I know two friends who have had cancer now for 4 and 5 years, and they just have, they said they're not going to ever get rid of it, but they can live with it. And they have treatments once a week, once a fortnight, and they can do most things. And he very well may have that. And he wants to do a bit more as being king because he hasn't had much chance because it's been so near.
I know, and he released this statement yesterday, didn't he, during that
Yeah.
visit to the Manchester synagogue, almost begging, Angela, begging the mainstream media to focus on his work. But given the growing crisis, that's quite difficult at the moment. Goodness me,
Well,
Angela, what do you make of that?
Well, I'll just make it and say, well, we don't know when everyone's going to die. We don't know when he's going to die. So let's worry about that when he dies and see where everybody is and what's happening. I think it's awful to sort of plan what you're going to do over someone being, dead. I think actually as well with Sarah, I don't feel sorry for her at all. I don't think she's good at all. I mean, in one, in the book that Virginia Griffra has written, she said that Meghan, not Meg, sorry, she said that she came down to meet with Jeffrey Epstein when he came out of prison after having behaved very, very badly with young girls. And she asked the two girls to come with her. Beatrice was 20, Eugenie was 19, and they went to have a lovely party and evening with him. I, I'm absolutely astonished. How can you take your children down to meet somebody in America who has been absolutely disgusting with young girls the same age as your children and think that's the right thing to do? So, I mean, I've washed her out, actually, as far as I'm concerned. You run for miles to keep away from somebody like that.
Yeah, and she also took her two daughters to a P. Diddy
Yes,
party, Angela. One of those white parties on a yacht, whatever they're called, which so she's hardly been the greatest mother. I mean, it was quite ironic. So I think absolutely the days where Andrew and Fergie could lecture us are gone. But of course, the point the point Tina Brown is making is that they remain young, and what the hell is going to be done with them? And we've seen from Harry and Meghan, Angela, that it's not enough to just accept at face value, oh, we're not going to use the titles. I mean, Meghan to this day, Angela, is referring to herself and all of her tacky specials as the Duchess of Sussex, and privately still sending letters where she uses her HRH titles. So unfortunately, it's not enough. It's not enough. And the British royal family is becoming a bit of a laughing stock. And I think William knows that. And so I do think something more is going to have to be done.
Yes, I'm sure. I mean, you have to get them out. They need to go to another country. There's no point sulking
Exile.
there. They've got to get out of Windsor Castle and Windsor Gardens and anything that's around there because he doesn't want to look at everybody, what they're doing, what they're not doing. Go away, the other side of the world, do what you want and enjoy yourself. Anything that they want to do. I'm sure they'll go together. But I think that's what you do. You just start a new life. That's what the Queen hoped. that Harry and Meghan would do. They would go and have a happy new life. But Meghan won't take that because she didn't win. And she's going to stay there and she's going to stay there until she thinks she's won the battle. But we must stop that. We can't bear it. She doesn't know what she's doing. She's just too appalling for words to try
Well,
and
indeed.
get involved.
And what we need, Angela, what we need is for the royal family to realise this is a moment to sort it all out.
How many times have we heard this about making jam, making any sort of food? She just does think that she's so important that she can do everything without anyone. And poor old Daniel Martin, who's looked after her so beautifully. And actually, he said that he gave her face a sort of glow. And then she said she did it herself. And she said it was outrageous that he dares say that. Very funny, really. I mean, she just is awful. She treats everybody incredibly badly.
But serves him right because he should have known. He should have known eventually that she was going to come for him too, because he's been there as she's treated everyone else like a piece of dirt.
Yes. But the other thing is that we should know by now that she's a failure with everything. She tries hard. She pushes everyone out the way because she won't listen to what any advice is given to her. And she thinks she can do it all. Apparently, she runs her image like a luxury brand. There we are. So she thinks that her image is absolutely amazing. She does. She thinks
Whereas
she's
we view it
wonderful.
as Timu.
And that's it. And she's not going to make a great deal with makeup because she doesn't listen and she won't do it properly. And she'll be worrying about putting the paper wrapping around it more than actually making sure that it's a good thing to have. It'll cost a lot of money, but people won't buy it. People don't like her anymore. People don't want to buy things from anymore. They don't trust her anymore. All that has gone. I mean, she's got her PR people who are pretending she's wonderful and everybody thinks she's just, amazing woman. She is an amazing woman, but in a negative way.
Royal titles are governed by laws, traditions, and constitutional considerations. In some cases, removing a title could require parliamentary involvement rather than a simple decision by the monarch. That reality often gets lost amid dramatic headlines. Nevertheless, the discussion continues. And much of it centers on Prince William himself. Over the years, William has cultivated an image of stability, duty, and long-term planning. Many commentators believe he favors a modernized monarchy focused on public trust and accountability. Because of that reputation, some believe he could take a tougher stance than previous generations. Whether that would include title changes remains unknown. What makes this story particularly fascinating is that it reflects larger questions about the future of the monarchy. What should royal titles represent? Should they be permanent regardless of circumstances? Or should they depend on continued service and responsibility? These are questions that generate strong opinions on all sides. For supporters of reform, the issue is about protecting the monarchy's reputation. For opponents, it's about preserving long-standing traditions and constitutional stability. And caught in the middle are two figures whose names continue to dominate royal headlines: Prince Andrew and Meghan Markle. Despite their very different situations, both remain subjects of intense public discussion. That reality explains why stories like this attract enormous attention. The future of the monarchy is one of the world's most closely watched topics. And any suggestion of dramatic change instantly becomes global news. For now, there is no confirmed plan to strip titles from either Meghan Markle or Prince Andrew. The debate remains largely hypothetical. But as the monarchy evolves and future leadership approaches, questions about accountability, responsibility, and royal status are unlikely to disappear. The real question is this: if Prince William eventually becomes king, what kind of monarchy will he choose to lead? And could that vision include changes that few people expect? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more royal news and analysis.